Hello everyone, I am alive and alive. Today is Sunday, July 10th of 2022. It is not hot today, thank God, but it's a little warm, which makes me uncomfy, but it's fine. So I do have plans for later today, so I'm only gonna be able to stream for a little bit today. So it's gonna be like a tiny stream, basically. Again, I don't have a lot of time on my hands right now, so I'm only gonna cover what I can. But um, and again, it's a slow news day, so I don't have a lot of news to cover today. Again, as you can see in the tabs above, that there's not a lot to work with here. There's not a lot going on, but I found what I could that was interesting. Like, there's always a lot of news, like, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to me picking out articles and stuff to cover, I don't want it to be boring, and I want it to be something everyone can understand so that no one's confused. But again, that's why it's going to be like a slow news day. So we're not going to cover the news a lot. We might like do some reacts or play some games later. So that should be exciting for everyone. Hold on, let me do this here. Let me open up the chat room. Okay. Okay, let's get started. So I saw this article posted today. It's called Sri Lanka's president and prime minister may be stepping down, but chaos remains. So don't worry, this is going to give us some background. Context to this picture is going to be pretty funny. Protesters swim in a pool at the Sri Lankan president's official residence on July 10th, the day after the crowd stormed the compound in anger over the nation's economic crisis. So yeah, this pool belongs to like the president over there, and these people straight up just stormed his house and are like swimming in his pool now, which is fucking awesome. I think what they're doing is great. I think it's pretty funny, not gonna lie. Okay, political parties in Sri Lanka met Sunday morning facing intense pressure to quickly form interim government after the country's president and prime minister agreed to step down following fierce anti-government protests. No fresh protests were reported in Colombo, but people thronged the president's home, which was seized by protesters the previous day, picnicking in the gardens and swimming in the pool. Damn. A volunteer associated with the protest movement told the Washington Post that the protesters will occupy the homes of two leaders until they formally resign. Damn, that's kind of badass, I'm not gonna lie. So they're like straight up just in their houses, just like, yeah, this is our house now, bitch. Tens of thousands of people flooded the streets in Colombo this weekend to demand President blah 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 ouster over the disastrous economic policies that have driven the country to collapse. On Saturday, angry crowds stormed the presidential residence and office and celebrated their victory by diving into the swimming pool and lounging on blah blah blah's bed. On his bed, on the president's bed, bro. Imagine, that's such a flex. By nighttime, the president had conveyed his decision to resign on July 13th. Damn. He had moved out of his home a day ahead of the protesters, and his whereabouts remain unknown. Very mysterious type of vibe. Okay, so he's gonna resign on July 13th. So like in 3 days, because today's July 10th. So like it shouldn't be long now until he resigns. Which good shit to the people. Prime Minister blah 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 also offered to resign to quell his growing unrest, but his offer did not blah 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 irrit protesters who set his home ablaze. The announcement of the resignation in office offers marked a major win for the protesters, but plunged the island nation into political turmoil over what happens next. This was a failed president and failed government, said blah blah blah, a member of the opposition party that aligned with blah 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 with the president. I need to put this low. Okay, thank you. He said long-suffering people of the country have taken control. It might be the people on the show, he said. Give our stolen money back. Damn. It is a historic moment, he said. An opposition member of blah blah blah, where a true citizen ended the rule of an unpopular and untrustworthy government. At an all-party meeting Saturday, lawmakers decided to form an interim government until elections can take place. Decisions are underway to appoint a prime minister before resignation president on Wednesday. Do they even have like people in line to take that motherfucker's place? We can now move into a more acceptable long-term trajectory for the country and for the international community. The leader of the main opposition party. The United States is tracking developments in Sri Lanka closely. Secretary of the State Anthony Blinken told reporters in Thailand on Sunday, urging the country's political leaders to quickly identify and implement solutions for long-term economic stability and addresses the people's discontent. Yeah. I mean, again, if you still haven't caught on now to why these people are doing this, it's because their government is shitty. That's basically it. And they're in sorry I'm yawning, I just woke up like an hour ago. And these people are in economic crisis. So obviously the government's not working for them, so why not destroy it? Sounds pretty good to me. Blah blah blah. Sri Lanka would be in crisis even if we didn't have a war in Ukraine, but it's compounding everything. An analysis at International Crisis Group Consultancy told the Post in April. This is the Ukraine affected headline. What? What does Ukraine have to do with this? The war in Ukraine has pushed up global energy and food prices, making it impossible for nearly bankrupt countries to import what it needs. Oh, okay, I get you. So the war in Ukraine basically fucked their country because everything's so expensive over there. Even as the opposition tries to build consensus on next steps, the situation remains volatile as people's patience has run out with no quick fixes available. What is this, bro? Okay. Bro, these people are fucking partying, having a great, grand old time. I see nothing wrong here. Personally. But that's just me. In May, similar large-scale protests led to the resignations of the president's older brother as prime minister and other family members, but the president hung on, appointing a former prime minister to head a new government. Anger over continued economic distress spilled over again, but this time in a greater force. Recent weeks have been marked by several fuel sabotages, lengthy power cuts, and skyrocketing food prices. The extraordinary circumstances forced authorities to shut down schools and offices and asked government workers to grow food in backyards. Damn, that's fucked. The signs of the acute distress are apparently everywhere, and the miles-long lines at gas stations where it takes up 3 days to reach the plant. What the fuck? And desperate attempts by asylum seekers to reach Australia by sea. What the fuck, dude? Experts say Sri Lanka is experiencing stagflation, a period marked by slow growth and high unemployment occupied by rising prices. Some forecasts suggest the economy will shrink by 4 to 6% later this year, worse than the COVID hit the economy in 2020. Sri Lanka has been in bailout talks with international leaders, but continuing policy instability threatens to jeopardize that process. A lawyer specializing in debt reconstructing, said credit would like to deal with a government that is credible and legitimate and can deliver on promised reform. I would agree with a quarter of the country's 22 million residents are in need of food assistance. Many have resorted eating loss or skipping meals altogether. Countries including India and Australia have sent humanitarian aid such as food and medicines. Damn, dude, it's fucked. Sorry, I'm just like trying to skim through this because I'm not trying to read the whole thing because I get bored easily. Even though this is really fucked up that's happening. And I guess that's it. So, yeah, that's what's happening in Sri Lanka. If you wanted to know, if you were interested. Because most likely American news is most likely not going to cover this on the news, so why not cover it here? But we're going to move on from this. I have really nothing else to say. Good for these people. You know, they're taking power back. They want change, and they're obviously doing that. And good luck to them. I wish them nothing but the best. We're moving on. We're moving on to a mass shooting that happened in South Africa. At least 14 dead in a mass shooting in a bar in Soweto, South Africa. Wow, that's interesting. The reason why I clicked on this and the reason why it caught my eye is because when I saw this I was like, oh my god, a mass shooting that happened that wasn't in America? What? What? That's strange. Bro, South Africa's trying to be America so bad with their mass shootings. I'm just kidding, I'm kidding. It's a joke. Please. 14 people are dead. Let's try to lighten the mood a little bit, huh? At least 14 people were killed and 9 others injured in a shooting in a bar in South Africa township on Sunday, local authorities said. The incident unfolding shortly after midnight when a group of men armed with rifles and 9mm pistols entered a bar in Namzamo informal settlement near blah 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 and started shooting randomly at patrons, the police said in a statement. The fuck, dude? Police said 23 people were shot in the establishment, 12 died on the scene, and 11 were rushed to a nearby hospital with injuries. 2 more people were declared dead at the hospital. The police have opened investigations into 14 cases of murder and 9 cases of attempted murder, according to the statement. It's a bad scene where you see the bodies that are piled up. You can see that every one of these people was struggling to get out of it to burn, the police commissioner said. He told the South African news channel. He said the police are yet to determine details on the motive or why people in the tavern were targeted. I have no doubt with the cooperation of the community here, we will be able to crack this case. The police called on the witnesses to come forward, saying the suspects will be on the run. We're still on the run. What? They haven't caught them yet? 4 of the people were killed in a separate shooting incident in a bar between Sweetwaters and blah blah blah. On Saturday evening, police said Sunday. Said in a statement, at least 12 people were shot and 2 men entered the tavern randomly opened fire. Police said the suspects were still at large and the manhunt was underway. Dude, that's crazy. The twin shooting comes as the country still mourns the death of 22 young people, some of them as young as 13 who died in yet unexplained circumstances at the tavern in East London last month. That's it? Just blue-balled me and left me there? Dude, that's fucking sad. That's pretty fucked. Pretty fucked, but there's nothing else I can say because there's nothing to do about it. other than say that it's fucking sad. Anyway, this is happening in South Africa. Fucking first shootings ever happened outside of America. Obviously, I'm lying. That's a joke. Don't take what I say seriously. Doja Cat calls out Noah blah 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 for sharing her DMs about stranger than crush. I saw this shit on TikTok and it's so fucking funny. Okay, we're gonna move on again, but this time we're gonna move on to Ukraine. Have you forgotten about them? Have you? Be honest. It's okay to say that you forgot about them. It's okay. You're not a bad person. You're just busy. Oh god, I'm a terrible person. I'm going to hell. Death and devastation as Russian rockets hit Ukraine apartment block. Nice. Not nice. I was just kidding. I meant to say, that's fucked up. I'm not a Russian supporter, okay? I'm not. let me say that first. I do not support Russia, okay? I'm not one of those weirdos that like gets off to Russia and is like fapping. What the fuck? Oh, my music ended. Oh shit. Okay, give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. That's still too loud. Okay, that's good. Sorry, I just don't want the audio to be too loud. Summary: recruiters race to save people trapped in the apartment strike. In shock, all covered in blood, says one survivor. Canada returns a Russian gas turbine despite Ukraine's objection. Okay. At least 15 people were killed and 24 more are feared trapped after Russian green rockets hit a 5-story apartment block in Ukraine's region. Local officials said on Sunday as recruiters picked their way through rubble. Jesus. That's fucking scary. Ukraine also reported clashes with Russian troops on the fronts of the east and south, while Moscow said its forces struck Ukrainian army hangars storing US-produced M777 howitzers, a type of artillery. Blah blah blah. Read, bro. What is this? So the strike on the apartment building took place on Sunday evening in the town of Chasiv Yar. The regional emergency gave a death toll at 15 on Sunday afternoon, adding that 24 people are still under the rubble. Could still be under the rubble? Dude, that's fucked. We ran to the basement. There were 3 hits, the first somewhere in the kitchen, said a local resident her name is Ludmila. Speaking of recruiters, removed the body in white sheet and cleared rubble using a crane as well as their hands. The second, I don't remember, there was lightning. We ran towards the second entrance and straight to the basement. We sat there all night until this morning. Another survivor gave her name as Grenera. She said she wanted to save her 2 kittens. Oh no! No! Not the kittens, bro. What the fuck? That's where I draw the line. Just kidding. I was thrown into the bathroom. It was all chaos. I was in shock, all covered in blood. She said, by the time I left the bathroom, the room was full of rubble. 3/4 fell down. I never found the kittens under the rubble. Jesus. Sag. Wrote on a telegram that recruiters blah blah cleared nearly 99 totals of rubble and collapsed apartment. Recruiters are still going on as 4 p.m. President Volodymyr Zelensky said in a Telegram post that the strike was another terrorist attack and that Russia should be designated as a state-sponsored terrorism as a result. Russia says it's conducting a special military operation to demilitarize. Ukraine denies deliberately attacking civilians. Well, of course they're gonna do that. What country is gonna attack another country's civilians and be like, yeah, I did that? Unless they're like that OP. But other than that, of course they're gonna be like, nah, we didn't do that. What are you talking about? You're stupid. Eastern International Reasons has become Europe's biggest battlefield for generations. Russia wants to wrest control on Donbass on behalf of separatists that it supports. Bro, again, if you're new here, you can probably tell by now that I can't fucking read. Alright, don't judge me. Leave me alone. I'm an American. Leave me alone. Please, have mercy. Russian forces attacked Ukrainian positions near the town of Sloviansk. I can't read that. Ukraine's military said, adding the Russian forces had launched a missile. Blah blah blah. Damn. Look at that shit, bruh. That's fucking crazy. Anyway. The enemy is shelling the surrounding settlements, carrying out airstrikes, and is still unable to completely occupy the entire region, she said on Telegram. Russia aimed to control over its province last weekend. Okay, I get you. I'm following. Russia's defense ministry said its forces had destroyed two hangars near the blah 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 holding U.S. made blah blah. News agency said blah blah blah. Said military has been shelling NATO standard this morning to residents. Okay, I think I'm done here. I mean, that's basically it. Like, apparently Russia just bombed the shit out of some civilians and now 15 fucking people are dead. Jesus. I mean, I highly doubt we're ever gonna know the full, like, number of people who died. But that's just me, that's just what I think. But whatever. We're gonna move on to not news. So let me change the title actually. Hold on. Give me a second, let me change the title, please. Give me a second. Also, we're probably gonna, after we do reacts, we're probably gonna do some gaming later. I'm still changing the title, I'm sorry. Okay, we're good now. I just changed the title of my stream. Had to do that, obviously. So we're kind of just gonna go down the list here, honestly.
It is a rare genetic condition. It turns...
Whoa, lady. Relax. I need to turn up the volume first. Okay, got subtitles. This.
It is a rare genetic condition.
Okay, this is I'm 23 and turning to stone. Born Different. By Truly on YouTube.
It turns muscle, tissue into bone, essentially causing me to grow a second skeleton. My shoulders and neck, my jaw, and my hip affect me the most.
Born Different. Bro, what am I watching right now? By the way, I'm only watching this because I saw the thumbnail and I thought it was interesting. St. Louis, Missouri. "23-year-old Carly has a rare connective tissue disease called fibra blah 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 FOP for causes muscles, tendons, and ligaments to turn to bone, restricting movements to fuse into a
My
frozen
right
position."
hip
Jesus, that must fucking hurt, bro.
is locked. So I stand like a flamingo, but my foot doesn't reach the ground all the way, which is why I walk with a limp. So when I stand, I just have really good balance. For me, it's more comfortable because if I were to stand like with 2 feet, I would stand like this.
Because
Which-
her hips locked.
Isn't very helpful. So it's easier because I can stand straight and then talk to someone. Whereas if I stood with both feet on the ground, I'd be talking to the ground. Not often do you need to talk to the ground.
You know what? Respect. She wants to respect people. She wants to look them in the eye when they're talking to her. Respect.
The first thing to go was there was a lot of swelling in my back that has caused that over time to just turn into a sheet of bone.
Damn.
I have progressively lost more movement in my shoulders and neck, to at this point where I have almost none.
So Carly can't bend at her waist. She cannot raise her arms over her head. Luckily, she still has movement that she can get to her mouth. But I help her with her earrings. I help her shower. I do her hair.
Put her shoes on, and we drive her places that she needs to go.
FOP is one of the rarest known diseases, affecting approximately only 800 people
So I was
worldwide.
diagnosed with FOP at 5.5. I took a really bad fall in 2001 off of the back of a bar stool, and had a lot of swelling. Next day we went to the doctor.
When we brought Carly in to have her looked at, that's when Dr. Schmidt looked at us and said, you know, I just want to see her feet.
The genetic mutation causes big toes to
He
be
looked at her
malformed,
feet and said, you know,
and sometimes a joint is missing completely.
I think I know what this is. He wrote it on a piece of paper and said, you know, there'll be some specialists you'll have to see. Basically, that's when we found out.
It can be triggered by a fall, or even something as little as a paper cut can trigger new bone to form, and sometimes it's nothing at all.
What the
I
fuck?
could fall today and nothing would happen, but if I took the same fall another day, it could cause me to lose mobility. So it kind of depends on what wakes up the FOP beast, as we like to call it.
Dude, that's fucking crazy how she's like, just a single fall can do that to your fucking body. That's insane, dude.
The condition progresses in spurts. These kids tend to go through a time period where there are a lot of flare-ups. We're not really sure why. There's some suspicion that hormonal events that happen during adolescence may be a trigger. So Carly lives a little differently because it's difficult for her to be on her own, right? She's a young woman who would probably like her independence and the ability to get out and do things on her own, and her disease doesn't allow her to do that.
At the age of 7, Carly's jaw locked, and now cannot open her mouth more than 2. What did I say?
They took 8 teeth out.
What did I say? 2 millimeters. Damn!
They took 8 teeth out, so I can get food through the holes, as I like to call them. But it's definitely harder to chew. If there was a sport, I was in it, and I was the center of attention. I just loved everything about being active. So I remember my parents having to slow me down a lot. They never treated me any different.
She was on the swim team. She wasn't very good, but she competed anyways.
Oh my god, that's so
and,
funny!
you know, everyone cheered her on.
Ah! what a savage, dude.
She was on the swim team. She wasn't very good, but she
Look at the mom. I was like, motherfucker, I know damn well you didn't just diss my daughter like that, bruh.
competed anyways. And everyone cheered her on.
It didn't matter. It wasn't what it was about. It was about her just being her.
Oh shit, I wasn't even paying attention. The life expectancy of someone with FOP is 40 years old and there is currently no cure. However, there are multiple clinic trials looking into FOP, promising treatments and potential cures.
Yeah, just finger in there.
So we are actually really lucky for such a rare disease. We have a couple amazing doctors on the case. You go, and then I go, and then my dad goes, and then
This is tragic. I am ruining this. I'm about to lose it right now. This is actually so tragic. It's stuck in there.
There's drugs that will hopefully prevent bone from forming because of a flare-up. That's the drug that Carly is on right now as a clinical trial.
Where we're at today versus where we were 15 years ago, just amazing.
So this is the piece of bone that is causing my jaw to lock,
Damn.
which is why I have no movement. And hopefully in the coming years with FOP treatment, they will be able to remove that cord of bone, giving me mobility back in my jaw.
Oh, and someone. That actually scared me. You have more makeup than anybody I know, even me. Carly went to 3 different colleges. Finally graduated from Maryville. I went to Drury in Springfield, Missouri. But sometimes Carly will like curl my hair for me and French braid it.
Carly has been with her boyfriend Billy for 6 years. Damn, and she got a little boot thing. Fuck, dude. Damn, she got herself a little boyfriend.
We decided to move in together. That one was actually instigated by me.
She caught me off guard.
There we go. I decided it was kind of the right time for me to venture out on my own while I still could. We're hoping in the next 2 or 3 weeks to be moved in here. There was no real modifications that we made in here. We just are going to be careful about where we put the dishes.
Also, just want to highlight this beautiful, beautiful doggy. Just so you know, that doggy is there. It's beautiful. It deserves to be appreciated.
And other things in the kitchen to be able to be at a level to where I can reach them. So here we have the bathroom. This we had to completely gut. And then we also have a bench that I can sit on and also use to put shampoo and conditioner so that I can reach it.
Well, she'll have to cook her own meals. She'll have to basically.
Carly
Bro!
doesn't cook. Billy will
Damn!
be cooking.
Damn, dude, the mom, her fucking laugh, bruh. Hold, you see this shit? Oh my god, you see this woman's fucking face? She said, Carly cooking? Hell nah, bruh. That's so fucked up.
Basically,
Carly doesn't cook. Billy will be cooking.
she's going to have to learn to live on her own. Yeah, we're scared, but we're excited at the same time.
I'm pretty excited.
It's been a journey. I'll be happy that when it's over.
I'm just excited to get into my new home and see where my independence can take me, but it will hinder me as well. It's definitely disappointing that I can't play sports or drive a car or do this, that, or the other thing, but I always try to look on the positive side and remember what I still have, and I'm thankful for that.
Bro, her balance is immaculate. Just saying. That was a cool little video. That was cool. I didn't know that fucking disease existed. That's fucking scary as shit, dude. What the fuck, dude? That's terrifying. But, you know, she seems to be handling it pretty well. But yeah, it was a cool video. I don't want to watch this one right now, honestly. So I'm just gonna skip to this.
Hey y'all, do you love middle ground? I know I do. Did you
No.
know Step forward if you agree. City teens are bitchier than country teens.
Whoa. That's a lot. What did I step into, bro? I just skipped the intro. Let me go back a little bit. Oh, I guess I have to watch the whole thing. Okay, this video is called Can City Teens and Country Teens See Eye to Eye? Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, this video seems pretty fucking stupid, but I'm gonna watch it anyway because it's content, it's entertainment. So why not, right? If you want to know my status, I am a city teenager. Right now, I'm still a teenager. I'm a city teen for sure. From LA, born and raised.
Every single year of my sex education, we had to sign an abstinence vow in our books. We actually had a teacher get written up because she taught the girls' sex ed class how to put on a condom.
Yep, brother, seems pretty American to me.
My name is Jeremy. What I love about being in the country is being in that bubble of people that you know and you care about.
One of the misconceptions is people in the city think that people in the country are like less educated.
When I hear city teens, I think of party people.
My name's Mandy. I am from LA, and I love it because of the character. One second you're seeing someone, a model, walking down the sidewalk, the next a homeless man is peeing on the ground.
When I hear
You know what? Real and fucking true. That girl, she's spitting straight facts right now.
country teen, I just assume they kind of just don't have a lot of experience with people from different walks of life.
In the city, I've always felt included. I've always had a friend group and people to relate to.
Step forward if you agree. City teens are bitchier than country teens.
Now that's just a stereotype, but okay.
Well, of course city teens are more bitchier than, sorry mom and dad. Of course city teens are more bitchier than country teens because you guys have so much more to deal with.
It's just kind of a rule out of safety where you don't even make eye contact with anyone because then you're putting yourself at risk because there's unfortunately a lot more bad people that are willing to do bad things in the city.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
I want to say I'm a selfless person, I'm a nice person. However, you know, I have that bitchy side. Me coming out as like a bitch is now just me making sure you know who I am and how I am going to run my things.
In the city, like even just driving, everyone else is so like selfish and self-important where they're getting where they want to be even if they're putting other.
Bro, real and true. If you don't know, you probably hear this from literally everyone who's ever lived in LA. But LA traffic is fucking horrendous. Drivers in LA are fucking crazy, dude. It's crazy how like selfish they are.
Other people in danger.
I almost had a heart attack this morning when so many cars, like especially like in the city, they'll just cut you off. The drivers, they don't care at all, so I'm like, okay, so that's normal.
People learn more practical life skills in the country.
No.
I grew up in a huge family of like 8 siblings and we've always lived on a farm and I've had a lot of like life skills. Like now I know about plumbing and like water tanks and different things that I can now use in like my adulthood, like now that I'm not living at home.
My hometown specifically, the upstate South Carolina, is considered like industrial, so we have a lot of factories. So they teach you a lot of very practical hands-on skills, woodwork, auto parts, auto body. In my opinion, AAA is not going to help you in the country.
Yeah.
You have to learn I had to learn to change my tire multiple times before I actually fully understood it.
I don't know how to change my tire. I've never done it once in my life.
My dad makes sure I keep a jack in my car.
This is so based because this question is designed to be based, you know? People learn more practical life skills in the country. Like, what do you think is life skills? Let's look that up. What are life skills? Like, let's see. Life skills list. I forgot I have my cap locks on. Fuck. Oh, life skills. Focus and self-control, communicating, critical thinking, taking on challenges. Well, this is base too, cause what are life skills, basically?
Just in case of that.
Would you say it's more encouraged for you to do more of that trade stuff that you learn, or do they encourage you to say, hey, feel free to go out into the city and learn the technology?
They give you the option, but going into the workforce was always a good option for people who maybe couldn't have afforded it in XYZ and stuff like that.
Yeah, personally, I've decided not to go to college at this moment, even though I graduated this past year. And I feel like I have enough skills to the point where I could get like jobs that don't require a 4-year degree.
A big part of practical life skill is like human interaction. And I think in the city, you have a lot of opportunities to meet a lot of diverse people, different kinds of people. You have the ability to network.
Well, would you consider that social skills or practical skills?
I think social skills definitely are a practical skill.
But I feel like in the city, you learn skills that are also equally useful to living in the city. They're just not the same ones, right? Like one thing I think about a lot is Uber. Everyone in the city knows that if something doesn't work out, something goes wrong, there's always an Uber. Assuming you have money, there's always like an option, someone you can contact. Whereas if you're in, the middle of nowhere, there's not going to be an Uber, period.
Moving to Charlotte was definitely a culture shock for me. I didn't know how to use a parking meter. I charged myself 4 times on a parking meter because I didn't know how to use it.
Would you consider that a practical skill? That's the question, right? Because what is a practical skill in now society? Is it knowing how to use a parking meter? Like, that's odd to think.
I mean, let me see. I'm trying to think. I'm having like a brain fart. I feel like living in the city is better for skills because you're exposed to so many different types of people and different types of scenarios and different types of situations almost every day. So it just, because there's more people in the city, there's going to be more opportunity for you. Yeah, life is probably going to be a bit harder because like it's expensive as fuck to live in the city. At least in Los Angeles, it's expensive as fuck to live here. So you're gonna have to like definitely try to either get lucky or you're gonna have to know people if you want to get your way in LA. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to ramble there. I'm sorry. Whatever. Oh shit.
Because what is a practical skill in now society? Is it knowing how to use a parking meter? Like, that's odd to think about, right?
Exactly. When I moved there, I just didn't know, and that's why I refused to even go towards the city limits.
I had sex education in school.
Bro, let me tell you this. I had sex education in middle school, right? My school taught us sex education in middle school for 3 days. They made it like this big thing where they got all of the students, they separated the boys from the girls, and they put us in the auditorium. And in there, they taught us about sex education a little bit. And they taught us about like periods and cycles for girls. And it was so funny because after every time the session was over, the girls and the boys would mix again and they'd be like, "What did you learn in that class? Hee hee hee. Boys have penises. Hee hee hee." You know what I mean?
Every single year of my sex education, we had to sign an abstinence vow in our books. We actually had a teacher get written up because she taught the girls' sex ed class how to put on a condom.
I think the importance that schools place on sex education is extremely lacking. Why aren't we worried about how good of people we're going to be? Because sex education also includes, sexual assault, rape. Like once we put our mindset into, we need to educate on things, not just science, math, reading. That's how you create better students. That's how you create better people.
My parents wanted to like have me learn it from them because my family's like very Christian, that everyone has a different view of how they think about sex. So I think sometimes it's important to have like parents teach that to kids. I don't know if it should solely be on schools.
Which I don't think it should, but the problem is a lot of parents won't. As a woman, we're not taught a lot about our anatomy and our health as much as we should. I was diagnosed with PCOS, polycystic.
Bro, fucking a bunch of fucking libs, dude. What is this? Hormonal. I think I have this.
ovarian syndrome with periods
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that
yeah. I was diagnosed with this as well. If you wanted to know anything about me, I have this.
kind of stuff. We're not taught like what's normal, what's not normal. We're just taught you have one. I got hospitalized because of my condition because I didn't know about it. I wasn't taught about it. And I feel like there's more to sex education than just intercourse.
People in the city have access to better education.
I don't think so. I mean, the school I went to, the high school I went to was good because the teachers actually gave a shit about the students, but the education wasn't the best. Again, I was in South Central LA, so what the fuck will you expect from a fucking school in South LA? It's not gonna be anything good at all.
Where I'm from, it was very underdeveloped. 30 minutes away, there was private schools. There's always a private school with the better education, better funding, and we were having to have teachers travel just because of how horrible our conditions were at my school, and these kids will go to Ivy League colleges where I'm going to community.
I think there's a lot more of a requirement to be educated in the city. If you don't get like a certain quality of education, like your options are just not going to be good enough to afford a lot of the lifestyles that people live in the city.
Where I'm from, it's the workforce, blue collars. We're the people who provide for the rest of America. So if we can find a job without our education, that's more important because that's what's putting food on the table. Why are we going to break our bank if we can find a job without one?
The school that I went to, basically like there was a lot less people there and there was more help for people that needed it and like one-on-one time with teachers. So I would say like that's the reason I've seen a lot of like country schools having higher like test scores and all that stuff.
The high school that I go to, it's heavily funded. There was one time I did go to an inner city school and I was like, whoa, like this is different. They don't have what we have. Like, I hate to bring this up, but like, you know, sometimes when you go to those inner city schools, who do you see the most in those schools? And that's when it comes into the race factor. It's been seen in history that more Black and Hispanic schools, they often are less funded than these PWIs.
Do you think that's...
She's speaking big fucking facts here. She's speaking all the facts.
Because of their race or because of just where those people tend to live?
Like, we can start a whole entire conversation about redlining and how they're all packed there, and somehow they always end up to have the least funded schools, but that's a whole entire other conversation.
I have a diverse group of friends.
Yes, I do. Personally.
I have a lot of people who don't view the world that I do, who are not Christian, who are atheist, stuff like that. So I think it's important to have those friends because like as a Christian, you're called not to just like be in a bubble and not just be friends with people that agree with you because that's just an echo chamber that doesn't do us any good.
I would say it's like always a great opportunity to be able to learn new things from new people and really expand yourselves. I would say my main group though is mostly Asian American because that's where I find common ground with people. It's about what you have in common, sometimes what you don't have in common.
I think friends are a luxury. I've never had a set group of friends growing up. I've always been the weird homo in the background. I was that token friend. I was the token gay. And it was never, I wanted to hang out. I just wanted you as my arm candy at school. Always the white girls just never want to hang out with me in public and always want to hang out with me in front of their friends. My friends are just the people I see at work or the people I'm kind of around because I know my boyfriend has a big friend group and I'm just around them. I know I'm never gonna feel like I fit in. It's just that one insecurity that I know I'm never gonna find that friend group that is gonna stick with me forever.
I feel safe where I live.
Do I feel safe where I live? I still live in LA. I'm not gonna say which part of LA because that's a little creepy. Do I feel safe in LA? Yeah, for the most part, I feel safe.
I'm a tall white dude. At least that's what people see, and like that's a huge security in the city. And I know I have friends who are not tall, not white, not dudes. Like changing all those three factors determines kind of where you feel safe and has a lot more to do with like me rather than just like my area or the city itself.
Yeah, personally, like growing up on a farm and predominantly in the or in the country, there's not very many like dangers. Like you can just be home alone at like age 10. No one's really gonna like bother you. A lot of people have guns, so if people are not scared of other people, it's more like natural disasters or like animals or different things like that. I was talking with some of my family members and they were like, oh, now that you live like by yourself in the country, maybe you should get something like bear spray because that's more of a threat than someone like coming to the house and like trying to rob us.
Yeah, I carry around a personal alarm with me wherever I go. I keep it in my bag because I want to be able to pop it open and alert everyone around me to be like, hey, I'm small and I might go missing. Like, I feel the need to have those things, unfortunately, and it sucks that I do. I know someone brought up guns in the countryside. For me, in the city, guns are scary, not protection. Because if someone has a gun in the city, they're not protecting you. They're likely gonna shoot you. I had a school shooting by my neighborhood. So it's definitely something where, you know, it's hard to feel safe even going to school.
You know, in the country, you rarely ever hear things happen like that. Like, I guess it's just a luxury that we have in the country. You can just walk around, maybe go on a late night jog or whatever, you know, things that you can't really do.
See, now that's the thing. If you're trying to go for a late night jog in the middle of LA, you're gonna get spat on or you're gonna get attacked or something.
In the city.
I want to switch lives with
Unless you're a dude.
the other side.
I've seen what it's like to be in the city, and I feel like, especially in the city, there's like way more opportunities. I really wanted to get into, you know, acting and stuff like that. Like in Texas, you don't really see that much of that.
There's always something going on in the city, which is great, but it also means, and there's always all kinds of different people, but it'd be nice to like spend some time just being in the country and figuring like stuff out for myself.
I feel like I'm like literally the opposite of you. I want to change the pace. I want mine to be faster. You want yours to be slower.
When I was a kid, I've always wanted to like live in New York City and do that whole thing and do like fashion. But obviously like everyone's opinions change and what they want to do changes. So I know personally I want to end up in the country and just like live on land or live somewhere that's very peaceful and like not super busy.
I personally love city life. Like I love city life so much that I went from LA to New York City, which is even more city than LA. I did live in Georgia for a little under half of my life, but just from personal experience, as like a minority, we tend to be less accepted where there's less of us. And when I lived in Georgia, there weren't a lot of Asian people. When I was a kid, like I would overhear people making fun of my mom's accent, my dad's accent, about how they spoke. To compare to where I live now, those things don't happen as often.
I love my quiet life. I love living on the outskirts. I love just not having to worry about much but my bills. To me, success and happiness don't go together. If that's me living just where I am, what I'm doing right at this moment, that's okay.
It was interesting to me with you guys both being minorities in the countryside, just seeing how you experienced being in the country, because I think it's a stereotype that, you know, there's a lot of people that are ignorant and bigoted in the country rather than the city. It's more accepting.
I feel like all of us are more on the same wavelength than I think our parents had with, you know, people from different walks of life. Like if we were to meet again, the word country wouldn't come to my mind at all. Like at any point, it would just be like, you know, peers.
I would handshake, but you know.
So that was that. I mean, the video was okay. I didn't really, it wasn't like that crazy. That one's just a warm-up, honestly. There was a video that I saw here that I wanted to look at. This one. This one's about to go crazy. This one.
Hey good humans, before we start this episode, we've got to...
Do you need a vacation? The sweepstakes by buying any item of merch from our store. Starting now, eligible for Rhode Island residents, no purchase necessary.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but you know what it is. Like you oh, okay, child.
Okay, we're gonna watch this video. This video, I could already tell it's gonna be spicy. It's gonna be spicy. So I'm getting pumped up for this video. Let me see.
Different, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know what it is. Like you oh okay, Childish Gambino, I can see that. Jordan Peele, okay, I can see that.
Oh, by the way, this video is called "Do All Black Men Think the Same?" I should probably have said that at the beginning.
I am expected to have a big dick. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my god. That's so funny.
Nobody disagrees.
Nobody disagrees.
Yo. Yeah, I feel like it's a stereotype. And we know that stereotypes aren't realistic, but I mean, personal encounters, I don't feel like there's leeway. I feel like, okay, that one we're keeping. Like that's what the general notion is.
I think it gets into the issue of positive and negative stereotypes and how people need to realize that there is no such thing, because what you do is you put people into a box where they're expected to live up to a standard. And I feel like it's over sexualizing Black men. You know, you should want to date someone more for the pleasure physically that they can bring to you. And I know I've talked to people personally who will be like, oh, you're lucky you're Black, you have a big member. And I'm like, well, I have other things to offer too. Like, I'm well spoken, I have a good sense of humor, I'm well traveled. Like, you go straight to like what's underneath my zipper.
Yeah, I mean, that's been my experience a lot of times, especially, you know, meeting different people. That's the expectation. And I just tell them 2-inch Punisher, you know, don't expect too much. I'm just joking, but it's I think a lot of people watch a lot of porn too, and that's where it comes from. Like when you watch a lot of porn, you see, you know, these mandingos and, you know, 10-inch monsters, and they expect that to be reality, and a lot of times it's not, but that's the expectation that they have. So
Our audience submit hot takes about this group specifically, and they are hot. So, Black men cheat on their significant others far more than other races.
No comment.
I'm just like, where is this study published? Did someone do some research where they calculated numbers over a given period of time?
The reason why it was going to be neutral is because I don't know the numbers. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
Know
That's
if
why I'm like, I
true or not.
don't I disagree.
Yeah. So I came this way because of the keyword far more. I was like, do Black men cheat? In generally, like you're not apt to not cheat because of the color of your skin.
To prescribe this to race feels nefarious in a way that I feel like it was coming from a place of somebody that got cheated on by a Black man. Like, it was like, yeah, Black men cheat all the time. Come on, this doesn't even make sense.
Black men are attracted to big butts.
Do we agree with that statement, or do I personally?
I mean, there's nothing biologically innate to like Black men to, you know, to like ass.
I think it ties into hip hop and the whole strip club scene right now. We are so far gone from like the natural aesthetics of just a natural person that right now it's all about who has the baddest ass. Who ass is 25 pounds with 2-pound legs. You know what I mean? Like that's hot for some reason. And I personally don't get it. I mean, it looks unnatural to me, like, you know, but I mean, a nice ass is just a nice ass though.
Bro, Black people are funny, and if you ever try and roast one of them, they will roast your ass so hard that you'll have no roast to rebuttal.
I don't know how to digest that.
I get what he's saying. I think Black people as a collective are funny.
If you go to Black Twitter, if you go to Black Instagram, Black Facebook, like, you're going to laugh. So I think—
No, honestly, he's right there. He's spitting facts. If you go to Black Twitter, you're missing out. If you're not on Black Twitter, you're missing out.
In that aspect, that's why like that statement has so much truth in it, because it's like.
So I guess it's like the question is like, Black people as a whole, are they funny? Or is like any Black person gonna knock your ass off because he's super funny? Like, I think that's just the difference. Yeah. Black people as a whole, like, yeah, they got jokes, you know, it goes back and forth, cool.
That's why I said as a
collective. But don't
collective.
think that any Black person you go to expect like a really good joke, you know?
The N-word should stop being used by all races.
And again, if you want my thoughts on these spicy topics, one, the reason why I'm not like as why I'm not giving my take a lot during this video is because I'm not a black man. So, therefore, that means it's not my place to speak on this. Like how it says the N word should stop being used by all races. If you ask me that question, you know what I would say? I don't fucking know, and I don't care. Well, I care a little bit, but like at the same time, it's like I don't fucking care because I'm not black. I'm not a black woman. I'm not a black man. I'm not black. So it's not my place to give my opinion on that. If that makes sense, it's not my place to speak on that. That's the place for the black community to speak on that.
3, 2, 1, go.
It's hard. I just think the N word, when you look at the root of the word, even slaves would use it to describe other black people when accepting their supposed oppression. So I just think when I
Their
think
supposed oppression, huh?
when accepting their supposed oppression, use it to describe other black people when accepting their supposed oppression.
Supposed oppression, sir. They were oppressed and they are oppressed. What are you talking about?
So I just think when I think about that, I don't think you can do anything to erase the history and the blood that's been shed on that word. There are so many people who the last thing they heard was the N word as they were being murdered. So when I think about that, yes, I think the word should stop being used.
Personally, me, I feel like it kind of starts with us. The fact that we make it so cool within music and within like entertainment that it lets other people feel like they have a pass or that it's okay because my favorite rapper said it or I heard it here or you guys say it all the time. How come I can't say it? But at the end of the day, it's black culture pain, and if anyone's going to be using it, it should only be us, and that's it.
You can't really own a word. I think, we can own it in the sense where it's a black cultural thing, but the idea where we kind of make it out to where we say like, oh, other people can't say it, I think that's more of like a insecurity within the black culture of not being able to hold power, because historically, it's like, right, historically, black people didn't have as much power, so we're trying to hold on to literally a word that only has meaning because we add meaning to it.
I mean, respectfully, I ain't trying to hear that, right? Like, I feel like the only reason it's police.
Bro, my man said, respectfully, I'm not trying to hear all that. I need to hear that again.
It's black culture pain, and if anyone's going to be using it, it should only be us, and that's it.
You can't really own a word. I think, we can own it in the sense where it's a black cultural thing, but the idea where we kind of make it out to where we say like, oh, other people can't say it, I think that's more of like a insecurity within the black culture of not being able to hold power, because historically, it's like, right, historically, black people didn't have as much power, so we're trying to hold on to literally a word that only has meaning because we add meaning to it.
I mean,
I don't know how I feel about that.
Respectfully, I ain't trying to hear that, right? Like, I feel like the only reason it's policed so much, and I feel like the only reason we even have like this debate or this debacle over whether we can use it or not is because we're black people. And I'm not one of those people that think everything is racist and all that, but in this specific instance, right, in several instances, women in many instances have reclaimed the word bitch to be a term of endearment. There are, in the 90s, there was heavier women reclaimed the word fat, obviously respelling it and things like that, but I feel like in those instances, nobody bats an eye. Why is that understood? But with this, it's so confusing. Like, oh, I don't know if like, when there are boundaries set, and that word is one of the boundaries that I think we have respectfully and rightfully set up for ourselves. So I don't want to, I'm not trying to hear the like, if we use it, why can't it? We do that all the time with a bunch of different things. And I don't think this should be one of the areas where we're like, yeah, let everybody, nah, I'm not.
Well, I think it goes back to where you're saying boundaries, because when you break down to inner communities where, blacks and Asians, blacks and whites in hip hop culture, where there's like, it's 5 group of friends and their black friends don't care. They're like, say it. Like that happens. So it's like, we're having this broad conversation, and I know all of us aren't trying to be the spokespeople for black people, right? But it's like, it's such a convoluted I guess, topic where it's like the expectations aren't clear to people depending where you're at. If you're on the East Coast, West Coast, like it's very unclear. That's what I think. I'm not arguing whether or not it's okay to say it or whether white people should say it. I'm just saying if we don't want white people to say it, I think it needs to be very clear. And I think even in fact in this new age of our culture, I think we're seeing more people saying we don't want white people to say it.
Homophobia is a big issue in the Black community. 3, 2, 1, go.
A lot of us Black men, we will rather be friends with the homie that, you know, probably has a rape attached to his name than the homie that's part of the LGBTQ plus community. And I think that that's something that, you know, we got to work
Okay, I'm
on
back
as
and
people because
I need to replay that part.
Homophobia is a big issue in the Black community. 3, 2, 1, go.
No comment. I don't know. No comment.
a lot of us Black men, we will rather be friends with the homie that, you know, probably has a rape attached to his name than the homie that's part of the LGBTQ plus community. And I think that that's something that, you know, we got to work on as people, because my thing is, I don't understand the whole big phobia of, okay, what he decides to do in his free time or behind closed doors, why does that bother you so much? Why does that affect you? Like, why do you feel like it's such like the scum of the earth?
And I also think it comes from religion, because I don't want to get too controversial with that, but people are very religious, especially in the Black community, you know, Christians. And you know, when you talk about the Bible, you know, they say, you know, homosexuality is a sin. So a lot of people have that ingrained in their mind, this is absolutely not right. And for a lot of people too, when they see a man, they want to see a manly man, and they associate that with being straight.
Heterosexual men have a fear that homosexual men will treat them how they treat women, if that makes sense. And so they're afraid of that treatment. And I'm on somewhat agree, because I'm rather
Damn, dude, what the fuck? He just spat facts right now.
Sin. So
This
a lot
dude
of
right
people
here.
have that ingrained in their mind, this is absolutely not right. And for a lot of people too, when they see
fear that homosexual men will treat them how they treat women, if that makes sense. And so they're afraid of that treatment. And I'm on somewhat agree, because I'm rather torn. I think I've lived a life where I'm around very open-minded, inclusive people. So I'm not sure how big of an issue it is in the community, but I know that in the Black church sphere, homosexuality is often made out to be the worst thing that you can be. There's almost nothing worse than being gay. And I think that's also where some of the homophobia comes from. We like to ignore all the other sins, all the other things that the Bible outlines that are not, you know, holy, and then we just take homosexuality and we make it the worst. You know, granted, the Bible says it's an abomination, I get that, but the Bible says any sin will send you to hell, so.
You can't be pro-Black and date a white person.
This is some dumb shit. What the fuck is that question?
You can't
You
be
can't be pro-black and date a white person. That is so fucking stupid.
pro-Black and date a white person. 3,
Dumbass
2,
question.
1, go.
I think really the issue with this statement is, for me, if you are a stand-up person and you stand up on your morals and your character, it doesn't matter who you date. And I think a lot of the issue is a lot of people get into, you know, interracial relationships, or they date white people and they forget who they are. And if you are pro-Black, it doesn't matter if you're dating a Black person, a white person, because you can date a white woman and a Black woman and still not even be for the cause. So I really think it's up to the person if they stand on their morals or not.
I agree to a certain extent, but personally me, I feel like if you're pro-Black, you're pro-Black for everything. Like, you're for the advancement of the race, you're for businesses, you're for everything Black. So it's kind of hard for me to understand how someone can be pro-Black and want so much for, you know, the Black culture and the Black race, and then they're in a relationship with someone that doesn't represent that, you know.
So are you saying that if you are Black and you're pro-Black, you cannot act on attraction to someone from another race?
Personally, I'm not pro-black, but in my mindset, like I'm saying, if you're pro-black, you wouldn't find someone that's not black attractive to me. Not saying attractive, but you wouldn't